Hi there, this is Dr. Ma'in Hasib again with lesson 4 on how to be CAB ready every day in your laboratory. We start with the conclusion. If you are CAB accredited, for any revised checklist, you need to review the new standard, the revised, the merged, and the deleted standard, and take care of things that are applicable to you. For existing checklist, you need to review, take care of any weekly, monthly, semi-annually, annually, or biannual standard. If you are not CAB accredited, you are working on CAB accreditation, then everything is new for you, and you need to take care of everything that is applicable to your laboratory or to your section. In lesson 1, lesson 2, and lesson 3, I showed you how to be CAB ready every day in your laboratory for the LabGen checklist, the all common checklist, and in the chemistry and hematology checklist. In lesson 4, today's lesson, I'm going to show you how to be CAB ready in the microbiology checklist, including the molecular microbiology section if you have one. In lesson 5, I'm going to show you how to be CAB ready in immunology, histology, and cytology sections. In lesson 6 and 7, I'm going to show you how to be CAB ready in the cytogenetic, flow cytometry, histocompatibility, point of care, urinalysis, serology, blood bank, molecular pathology, and the team leader checklist. Also, in lesson 7, I'm going to give you a simple plan on how to be CAB ready all the time in your section or laboratory. So let's start with lesson 4, the microbiology checklist. In micro 11020, monthly QC review. The QC need to be reviewed by the medical director or designee. Usually it's a supervisor or a senior, but it must be delegated. The medical director must delegate in writing the review of the QC for the supervisor or the senior. In microbiology 11350, morphologic observation evaluation, you need to do that at least annually for your technologists who are doing gram stain, who are doing or other stuff that they need to be evaluated on. If you do this as part of your annual competency, part of the running PT, or if you don't have PT or they did not get the chance to do any PT surveys, then you can give them blind samples or previously analyzed samples to do. So if you do it as part of your competency, annual competency, semi-annual competency, you should be all set with this requirement. In micro 20520, biological safety cabinet, if you have a safety cabinet, it needs to be certified annually. And you need a sticker is not enough, you need a certificate. Usually the laboratory or the hospital hire an outside company to do that, or it is done by your maintenance or biomedical department. In micro 21240, media QC purchased, you need as appropriate, you need to take a sample from each lot and shipment of each purchased media. You need to check it before the initial use for each of the following: sterility, ability to support the growth, and biochemical reactivity when is appropriate, and you need to document that. For your micro 21540 gram stain QC, you need to do a QC for the gram stain at least weekly by having a known gram positive and known gram negative, and you need to document that. For micro 21560, if you have non-immunofluorescent stain QC, also each day of use, and for each batch or lot number and shipment, you need to run the QC. So each day of use, when you use it, if you don't use it, you don't need to do the QC. So for each day of use, for each new batch or lot number and shipment, even if it's from the same lot number, you need to run the QC. For micro 21624 reagent QC, the positive and negative controls are tested and resulted and recorded for each new batch, a new lot, and a new shipment of the same lot or a different lot for reagent, desk straps, and stains. For micro 21624 identification system QC, okay, you need to do the QC for the identification system in your section for each new lot and shipment, even if it's the same lot of reagent used in the bacterial identification system, and you need to keep record of that. In micro 21628 anti-serum QC, you need a positive and negative control for each new batch, lot number, and shipment of anti-sera when prepared or opened, and every 6 months thereafter. For micro 21632 beta-lactamase QC, you need to do for each day of use. And for the if you are using sulfonase, you need only to check with each batch, lot number, and shipment. You don't need to do every day of use. For micro 21910 stability test QC frequency, you need to do the QC each lot number or shipment of antimicrobial or media before or concurrently with the initial use, and each day the test is performed thereafter. For micro 21943 selection of antimicrobial agent to report, okay, you need your policy should be reviewed with the stakeholders involved in the antimicrobial stewardship in the institution annually. You need to do annually, and record of the review should be available in the laboratory. And to comply with this standard, you need record of annual antimicrobial reporting policy review by the Antimicrobial Stewardship Committee. In micro 22640 blood culture volume, the lab has a written policy and procedure for monitoring blood culture for adults for adequate volume, providing feedback on the result of blood collectors. And the way to comply with this is to have an indicator on it. You have to have a quality indicator or a KPI for this. In micro 43300 biological safety cabinet, you need to have it certified annually, and you need a certificate. Usually the hospital or the laboratory hire somebody, a company from outside to come and do it, or it can be done by maintenance or biomed if they are trained to do it. In micro 51220 calibration recalibration for the ocular micrometer, if you have one, it needs to be calibrated initially, and every time the eyepiece or the objectives are changed. Also, I recommend that you do it if you change the if you move the microscope from one place to another. You need to have a record, and you need to keep that record for the inspector to review. I'm done with the bacteriology or microbiology part of the checklist. Now we're going to move on to the molecular microbiology checklist, which is a part of the microbiology checklist. For micro 63256 turnaround time, for all molecular microbiology test, you need to keep a track of the turnaround time. And how do you do that? You do an indicator on the turnaround time. For micro 65160 AMR verification criteria, AMR, analytical measurement range, or the reportable range, it needs to, for quantitative testing, it needs to be done initially as part of the validation verification criteria, and then after that you need to do every 6 months. You can do it by patient samples, by controls, you can buy it from CAB or any other source. But if your calibrators cover the range of the AMR, you are exempt from this requirement. In micro 65240 QC statistics, for quantitative assays, you need to calculate the monthly imprecision by calculating the SD and the CV. And you can do this easily by using an Excel sheet. For micro 65400 thermocycler thermometer checklist, if you have one in the individual wells, okay, or a representative sample thereafter of the thermocycler are checked for temperature accuracy before being placed in service, and at least annually after that, and you need to keep a record of that. I am done with this lesson and lesson 4, where I showed you how to be CAB ready every day in your microbiology section and the molecular microbiology section. To continue with the subject, please go to lesson 5. In lesson 5, I'm going to show you how to be CAB ready every day in the immunology, histology, and cytology sections. Thank you for watching.